I was recently reading through the comments section and somebody left a response on an older video where I reviewed an amplifier and I said I really like the way that this thing sounds, but I wasn't totally sure about how reliable and how the repairability of the thing was going to be over the long term. And in the response, the guy mentioned cell phones, laptops, any basic consumer device that's being sold these days, and how they're exorbitantly expensive, but they're not built to last either, so they don't see why it's a big deal that an amplifier might only potentially last, a year or two before it needs like major repairs that could cost even more than the amplifier is worth at that point. I want to address that, my own opinion on it. I want to talk about why YouTubers don't necessarily always mention the repairability or reliability of amplifiers when they make reviews of them. And also, obviously I got to unbox this one. You might be thinking, what the hell is a Dr. Z box doing here? Why doesn't he already have a Dr. Z? I do, and it's back. It was just sent out for repair. And I'm going to talk about why I love this brand and why I love brands like this, because they do it the right way. So buckle up. We got a lot to go over. I will leave timestamps down below, but I want to start by fast forwarding this part for you and open the amp. For my own sake, I am just going to make sure it's working okay. I literally did just take it out of the box in front of you guys. I want to make sure there's no problems, but I'm going to be able to get to point number one while I do it, and that is, why don't YouTubers ever talk about the repairability or reliability of amplifiers compared to something like a guitar when making a review? So let's fire it up and we'll grab a guitar. Okay, there's a few things to keep in mind here. The majority of the production, the most important production, is always going to be for launch day stuff when it comes to any new product in this industry, whether it is a guitar or an amplifier. When you get a guitar, it is extremely easy to tell if something is really quality or not when you take it out of the box. There's not much hiding it. Like, even if this isn't your style of instrument, if you were to hold this guitar, this is made in Korea, but the quality on it is unbelievably good. It's just undeniably good. And within 6 months, if this thing was to develop a problem, odds are it's something I could either fix on my own or something so inexpensive that it wouldn't destroy my wallet, so to speak, to get the thing repaired. We're talking about maybe an output jack goes bad or maybe a switch goes bad or something like that. But all in all, you're going to know straight away if the important stuff with the guitar is going to go and they're really reliable. With an amplifier, on the other hand, it's a totally different thing, man, because you got to think. You get the amplifier, say they give it to you a week or 2 weeks before, you're going to make your video about it. Thing is going to sound great. They're not going to send you a dud. And that's it. That's going to be the video that's going to be the representation of the amplifier. It's not always the case where somebody's going to make a follow-up for various reasons. Maybe they just didn't personally love it and they just took it on as kind of a job to make money, because we all need to make money. And, I have no kind of begrudging against anybody that does stuff like that. Or, maybe it's just not their thing in general. But at the end of the day here, in that same 6 month time where, you might develop a small problem with the guitar, but most likely you're probably not going to, with an amplifier, it could die in that time. It really could. Any number of things can happen because it's a lot more complicated. You're talking about advanced circuitry and then also fixing it. If you don't know what you're doing, the voltage in one of these things can kill you if you foolishly attempt to do things on your own and you don't know how to discharge one of these. So being able to speak on long-term reliability, it is something that is important, but at the same time, it's almost unreasonable to expect somebody who's just a guitar player, that's not a qualified technician, to be able to look at the board, to pull the board when making these day one reviews. And there's probably some manufacturers that would prefer that you wouldn't do that when you are making sort of these promotional content videos. And I could almost understand why. I'm not defending it. I'm just saying I could understand why they do it. And just as a sidebar here, if you're interested in looking at the guts of amplifiers, checking out somebody that's awesome, that does repairs and has a super positive attitude. It's not one of these oh, mega negative, everything sucks kinds of channels. Check out Fazio Electrical. It's awesome, awesome stuff. And the last thing I want to talk about is what I opened the video with, and that was that comment with the kind of attitude of, my phone only lasts for a few years and that thing's worth over $1,000. My laptop, same thing. My TV, same thing. My console, my PC, whatever. And I can absolutely understand that. And I'm not somebody that says it's my way or the highway, because we all have different priorities. We all have different needs. We all use equipment for different purposes at the end of the day. And sometimes you really might not care. You might find an amplifier that sounds so good to you, you just don't give a damn if the thing breaks within, 3 or 4 years and it's really expensive to get the thing repaired. And you might be cool just buying a new one just like you would with an iPhone or something like that. But I guess I just come from a different school of thought with it, because I look at this amplifier, perfect example. This is a 1975 Music Man 212 HD that was made in Anaheim, California. That thing is an absolute tank. It has survived hurricane damage. It has survived water damage. It has traveled all up and down both the East Coast, back and forth from New York all the way down to here to Florida and multiple spots in between. It has survived going all the way to the West Coast, to California. It survived multiple places all along the West Coast, going up and down, playing gigs. It survived coming back to New York. Then it survived going back to California. Then it survived going back to Florida, and numerous gigs within the 30 years. Oh my God. Within the 30 years or so that I've had this amplifier. Stuff used to just be built better. You have to think like in the 60s, the 70s, and parts of the 80s too, companies really were trying to get you as high of a quality product as possible that was going to last and be serviceable. And unfortunately, the way that, not just the guitar industry, we're talking about like anything electronic device related, like companies, I can understand this. I'm not saying I defend it, but I can understand why they do it. If they sell you something like this, that works so well that you don't need to come back and make a secondary purchase. Their old school thought was, oh, they make something great, he'll refer a friend and then he'll buy one. Nowadays, it seems like the mentality from some manufacturers, not all of them, like I think Dr. Z, for example, do a great job with this. They think, you know what, we'll build you something that sounds great or performs great, and maybe it lasts you the day after the warranty expires. Maybe it lasts you 5 years after. Maybe it lasts you 10 years. But at some point, there's going to come a decision-making process where you're going to have to make where the amp is going to go. And you're going to have to make a tough decision whether or not you want to invest what could potentially be a pretty penny into repairing the thing, because parts could be really expensive, labor's expensive, and finding a tech that really knows what he's doing, that can reliably do all this work, that's something that not everybody has easy access to, or going the easier route and just buying the latest and greatest thing. I don't know, man. For me and for my money, I would rather spend more up front and get something like this that, even though, again, I just got this thing back from repair. I was bummed that it went within a year that I was having problems. But at the end of the day here, it was repairable. It was under warranty. I had to pay to ship the thing back, but I didn't have to pay anything to get it back. And yeah, now I have confidence that if anything else goes on it, it's, you know, backed by people that really do give a damn, that are here in the States, that do a great job. And, you know, I think that that's important. But I'd like to hear from you guys. I didn't really script this at all. I just kind of knew that I was going to unbox the amplifier, and that comment was really kind of sticking to me because it is so true. Like nowadays, everything is just, you buy it and eventually you just accept that it's going to die and you're going to have to replace it. And I just miss the days when you could easily just repair things on your own, whether it was a piece of electronic or gear or, you know, an automobile, for example. But I'd like your thoughts on the matter. What are your opinions on it? You're somebody that falls into the camp of, you know what, I don't mind spending $1,000 on, you know, maybe an import amp, and it can do a really great job for me for a few years, and then if it goes, I will have gotten my money's worth. Because honestly, I get it. I totally get it. Or are you more in line with somebody like me and like just my own personal beliefs? I don't think there's a right or wrong approach to it. I just think it's just different philosophies towards the kind of subject matter. Thank you for watching this video. I know this was absolutely not the most organized one in the whole world, but I did feel like it was something I wanted to film. Questions, comments, or concerns, leave them down below, and I'll check you on the next one. Take it easy.